guys, welcome back to the Takita and Kimberly podcast show. I am one of your hosts, Takita.
And I'm Kimberly, and welcome back. As
Yeah.
my co-host said, we're excited to have you with us. Today we're going to be talking about insecurities.
Insecurities.
But before we go, I want to thank all those who have supported our show through your donations, and also ask that you would go ahead and subscribe to our channel and share. If something has touched you or blessed you in a way, share it with your friends and co-workers and family members, and hey, let's do this all together.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm kind of laughing and smiling because I'm kind of blushing at the same time. But anyway, welcome back. But this morning I had a crazy thought around 3:30 in the morning. I was thinking, what defines a strong woman? And I'm thinking in my head, for me personally, a woman who realizes she can be weak, she doesn't have all the answers, she can be strong sometimes. I think my fear for any woman or person is when you think you have to have it together all the time, and then, as we talked about it earlier, things begin to fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
So I think a strong woman to me is a woman who realizes they don't have to have it all together. They're not perfect, but they realize that, and they still are secure within themselves.
Yeah. So I just want to start from the beginning of where this insecurity comes from.
That's good.
Yeah, because I think we all, at one time or another, wrestle with insecurities, whether you're whatever race, whether you're whatever economic status, whatever is your education. I believe all of us at one time or another wrestle, or still do in small ways, wrestle with insecurities. So let's talk about like how we start at the point, I think, when you're born, and let's talk about maybe elementary school, going to school.
I think for me personally, my insecurity started, and I just recently, within the last 20 to 30 years, became who Kimberly Chin Ray supposed to be.
Right.
I think for me, from my childhood, I think when you're not told certain things, that you're beautiful, you can do certain things, it does play a major part of how you're going to be when you become older. So I think for me, my insecurity starts from what I wasn't told as a child. So I think it's important as a parent to constantly reaffirm with your child who they are and what they can be. But mine started as my childhood.
And I think a lot of times when you think about being insecure, I think it does start from childhood, from everybody. I mean, it's just my opinion. But I can remember, just being in elementary school, going to class, not having the best clothes, or my hair not looking the way that somebody else's hair looked. And so you carry on from elementary school to middle school to high school, and you become an adult, and you face these different challenges. So I can honestly say, let's just start back with going to elementary school. Me going to elementary school, I remember just being home watching cartoons or looking at commercials, and in the commercials or in some of the shows that I would watch as a child, not seeing somebody that looked like me.
That's good.
Not seeing somebody that looked like me made me feel that whatever that I'm seeing on the tube and whatever I saw in the magazines, if it didn't look like how I looked, it made me feel some type of way. And so I would want my hair, if it was too kinky, I would want it to be more straight, because that made me feel insecure. And also I believe that because I just recall one particular time where my friend had gotten some new shoes because she needed some. And I remember only getting new shoes during either the first day of school or Christmas. My blue collarness was the fact that I didn't get shoes just because I wanted new ones. Like my children have our children now experience a different kind of level, but because I wanted them, we could only wait until the first day of school or to Christmas to get anything new. And so I thought that made me feel insecure because I couldn't wear what somebody else wore, or it wasn't as nice, or my hair wasn't
Yeah.
done all the time the best. And so I think that's what started that insecure journey.
That's so true. I remember as a child, we were living in a motel at the time.
Yeah.
And and we had a Christmas there. I remember my siblings and I going out the back, cutting a tree, trying to get a Christmas tree. I remember the neighbors next to us, they were all like motel kids from the state. Them having this big tree and them teasing us. They were white, we were black, teasing us, saying that how poor we were. We were all in a motel, but how poor we were because we could not afford a Christmas tree or Christmas. And that kind of that shaped some of my thinking of insecurities of what we didn't have and things that we lacked as children. So that played a big part as my young adulthood to overcompensate some things too. So those small things as a young child does play a major part.
Yeah. So going from that, I think our childhood, now I'm like, okay, now we're in junior high, which they call middle school.
Yeah.
In my day, they call it junior high.
Yeah.
But going to junior high now, I began to feel certain types of insecurity when it came to boys and dating. Like I was really skinny, and I was really skinny. I didn't have what they consider a butt. I didn't have a lot of breasts.
Trust me, no butt still.
As a child. And so that was the thing that you saw that most boys were liking, butts and breasts and all of those things. Or I was tiny. And so I think I just wrestled with a little bit of my body shape. I can't say that much. I could just say a little bit of my body shape. But even in that, it was something about how my mom raised me to just be a strong person, wherein I still did not, even though I knew that was the thing then, I did not settle for people or guys to talk to me that body shamed or made me feel like I was a product. It was something that I personally dealt with, but I still refused to be in any kind of relationship, or I refused to just associate myself with somebody that I felt like would make me out of a product. I still had a strong mind, I would say, even in my little insecurities. That came from my mom.
That's good. That's good.
So I mean, at that age, you're like 13.
You're still being molded. So you see your mother was a strong mother, and I understand.
So how are you feeling at that age? At 13 and 14, did you know who you were? Because at 13 and 14, I feel like at that point, it's more pressure. Because your hormones are raging. You're trying to find out who you are. And at that point, that's when you really realize what cliques are all about. When you get to high school, you really get, how to do the clique well if you're in cliques. But I think in middle school, it's very stressful because that's when fashion comes in. So either you know how to dress or you don't. That's when you start really paying attention to brands of clothes. And I think for all children, that is where that most of the time that's where you can get lost or your children can get lost. But I think at that state of my mind, that's where I was.
At 13, we were in two different lifestyles, you and I. At 13, I think I was numb at that time. At 13, so two different lifestyles, two different lives rather, which is we need both of them. The balancing table out here. But I think at 13, I don't even know if I was even thinking about insecurity at that time. I just don't. I was in survival mode at that age. But as I got older, I did, and it caught up to me as I got older. So I had to really, pretty much redefine myself. And when I say redefine myself, I had to really tap into who Kimberly was, because I didn't have I tell myself I didn't have an identity pretty much to my own self when it came out insecurities. So I had to really redefine myself, who I want, who do I want to be, who am I, what will I settle for, what will I not settle for. And which brings me to my thought, I was looking at an interview recently, and I heard someone say that a particular person had chose this person and it should have been an honor. And I actually got offended by that. I think I think.
So let me clarify that.
Yeah.
So we were watching TV,
Right.
and the young lady that was speaking, she was talking about being chosen.
Yeah, she was talking about being chosen
Yeah.
and what an honor it was. And I got to admit, that didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to get to a point in any relationship where if you choose me or whatever, I should be jumping through hoops.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to get to a point where we both are doing the choosing.
Right.
I think they
yeah.
said you should have the option to choose and vice versa. But I don't want anyone to think they're superior to me.
Yeah.
And that I just think it's not good.
Right.
So,
yeah.
and that really comes from just really doing the work of who you are.
Yeah.
Knowing who you are.
Yeah. And I think it. Yeah. And I just remember in high school having an experience similar to that, because I remember in high school, when you start dating in high school, where I remember this boy walking me to my class, right? And he was trying to talk to me. And so we're just kind of trying to really get to know each other. It wasn't like serious or anything like that. But I remember seeing him walking somebody else to their class as well. And then I was like, okay, you're walking both of us to our class, who are you trying to talk to? And
Right.
he said, well, I'm trying to figure out which one of you I like the best.
Yeah.
And when he said
Like
that,
deuces.
when he said that, I was so offended because I was saying to myself, and I said out loud to this person, hey, listen, it's something that my mom taught me. It's to have self-pride.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, wait a minute. Again, it goes back to what you were talking about with being chosen.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think that, especially us as women, should feel that it is just an honor to be chosen by some person.
Right.
Like you're sitting on the sideline, like you pick
I
a TV.
choose you.
Like I want this 70-inch TV, or
Yeah.
I'm
Like
not a product.
Yeah.
When I found out, I was like, there's no way I'm going to allow a person to make me a part of either the dozens or a part of a product that sits on the side awaiting somebody to pick me as if I'm a fruit.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, even though, just being in high school and all the different things that you go through, there was still something in me that had self-confidence and self-value that came from my mom, that put self-value. Like, we didn't have a lot of money, and I didn't have the best clothes, and my hair didn't always look the best that I wanted it to look. But I think I was decent looking, and I was the light in my own way, and I was popular in school. But I think I had enough in me to know that is something that I just refuse to allow. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know exactly where that came from, at what point, but I just think being raised in a house by a strong woman, and my mom having to be mother and father at the time, just being raised in a house where somebody that had standards, it caused me to have a certain amount of standards. Again, I'm the baby, so she has 3 kids. But as far as me, and I was the baby of the family, I just chose to be that kid that kind of listened when it came to that. And when the guy said that he was trying to think about which one of us he's gonna choose, I was like, oh, no. Let me think for you. It's better. It better be her.
Right.
It's gonna be her, because I'm not in the fruit selection. And honestly, that in itself caused that person to actually fall in love with me.
I'm sure,
because of the standards.
Yeah.
Because of the
I
standards.
understand that. I think for myself, because I lacked a lot of that, I made choices that weren't always healthy for me.
Yeah.
And I think having a good beginning of a healthy relationship with your parents, your parent or your parents, it does shape who you are.
Yeah.
You can break that, but it's work.
Yeah.
And I think because I had such an unhealthy childhood, I don't think I know I did, it caused me to make choices I would not normally make if I had been taught a little bit differently on certain things. So I think if I think the choice I made, I would probably would have never made in life if if I wasn't so insecure within myself and insecure in how I was raised. So I think that caused me to make choices I would normally have made in life. But as I got older, we part of high school. As I got older,
what was what was because I think during those years of teen years and preteens and all the way up to adulthood, what was your turning point where you was on a journey of finding yourself? Because I know we all go. I think I said phases and stages. What was your turning point where you started to kind of change your view of yourself to make better choices?
For years, I was in survival mode. Right. Because many know the story. I was in survival mode for years. But until my late 20s, actually, I started to tap into Kimberly really was. And I had to go from ground zero. And that took me with a lot of therapy. I mean, lots and lots and lots of therapy, literally, to know my identity. And first and foremost, I really threw myself in the Lord. I mean, really threw myself in the Lord as in not religion, but had a relationship with Christ that kept me from to help me see who I was in His eyes. I remember praying, asking God, who am I to you? Help me to see myself as you see me. So I had to go from ground zero to really to start from who I was.
It's so funny you said that, because honestly, when I think about, I'm gonna go right back to middle school, because I understand I'm sorry, high school. It goes in phases and stages, but I'm going back to high school, because as I was getting to know the Lord more personally, I was in school then. I began to change my life. That was the turning point for me. It was certain things that didn't come from anywhere. That I just said, I want to do this better. I want to. When I look at a family, this is what I want to see. When I have children, this is how I want them to feel when they walk in the door. I think just the journey that I was on, and just the awareness of who I was as a person and wanting to be different, and just having that hunger even more to know who God is, that started that started the change in my life. Because I remember writing one of the best papers in English class one day, and the teacher wanted me to read it, and I didn't want to read it. I was too shy to read it, and I was shy. I didn't want to get in front of the class and talk. But when I received Jesus, I could not stop talking. I mean, I wasn't talking anyway, but I was never the person that's going to get in front of an audience and talk. But when I received Jesus, I could get in front of any audience, and I could talk. You could shut me up. And so I think, and even in that journey with me being in high school, I began to change everything. My mindset began to change. I began to think about how I wanted to present myself as a person, as a woman. I began to think about those things. And so outside of just being, raised by a strong person, I believe that God was really just dealing with me, and transitioning in me, and it still takes time.
It's a daily.
I think one of the things that helped me with my insecurities is that a person can be a Christian and you can still be forever insecure. You can be a Christian and still not deal with your issues, your issues that you have. And I think one of the things that helped me along the way was that I didn't just become a Christian. I became naked and vulnerable to God.
And what that means
that helped me.
No question. I want to piggyback on that. What that means to me when you say that, and what I would do is, when I felt insecure, I would say, God, this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling insecure. I don't know what to do. I'm about to lose my mind, Lord. And that became my moments to me of growing. It really defined who I was. Yes, I had a therapy. Yes, I had the doctor I was going to get help because from the trauma. But to go to the Father, literally, who a Father who loves you and understands you, who created you, just as you are, that was a whole different moment for me. That was a whole, because although we didn't have this bright childhood, to say the least, we did stay in church.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, I want to know who this Christ is. I remember that feeling I had that I couldn't get from man. So when I mentioned earlier, and bears repeating, I had to throw myself in the presence of the Lord. And I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about a bona fide relationship from an insecure woman who had major issues, but I knew by the grace of God that getting myself in God's presence, the insecurities had to fall off. And that has really been my go-to.
So, yeah, and you could ask me this same question.
Yeah.
So what did insecurity do for you? Because I'm going to ask you the opposite side. Okay, on this side, the wholeness of you now.
Yeah.
But what was the thing that insecurity did for you that you recognized?
Well, it made how to make me feel.
Yeah.
It made me feel like I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Not for a person. I think I was my own.
Yeah.
I was
Right.
critical myself.
I get it.
I wasn't good enough to be at the table.
Yeah.
Or I didn't have what it took. I didn't have the education. Just so
Yeah.
many things.
Right.
The fears, the look.
Yeah.
I mean, just all those things you inherit from down the line with your insecurities and stuff. So I think all of that.
Right.
And I think I remember asking God, Lord, show me how you see me. And that meant more than me to anybody in the world can give me. God, tell me what you see inside of me. So, and that helped me really to see myself through the eyes of God.
Yeah.
And that still has been my go-to. And I think doing that over the years, I started making baby steps, and those things that I feared began to fall off, because it's not that I didn't care about what people thought about me, but once I realized how much God thought about me, that helped me along the way to become who I am today.
Yeah. I think what insecurity did for me early, it just made me fearful.
That's good.
Yeah, it made me afraid to register, or afraid to audition, or afraid to read the paper that I wrote. It brought about certain fears that it just made me feel inadequate.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah,
that's
inadequate.
A really good word.
I felt inadequate where even if I registered or auditioned for this or I applied for this, I wasn't going to get it.
Yeah.
And even if I did, I wasn't going to succeed at it.
Yeah,
so it made me feel inadequate.
Yeah. That's good.
And good. I remember, kind of like fast forwarding, I remember being in college and getting ready to finish college, and I majored in communications. Now this is after I'm already have one child, and I'm already having a family, and I'm in college now, and still in college at that time. I remember the guy from Channel 4 coming to our class, and we're getting ready to graduate. You know, okay, you're thinking about, I wonder if this person's gonna like me. Do I have what it takes? I'm majoring in communications, and the guy from Channel 4 comes to our class, and he has everybody write down their name, their email, their phone number, and he begins to talk to us about being on the news and being an anchor, being a reporter, being a broadcaster. He was talking to us about that. And after he got through doing his speech, he started asking us questions. And I felt like I couldn't get my hand up fast enough. Somebody else beat me to the question. Or if I did answer it, I didn't answer it as eloquent as I wanted to answer the question. And so I was like, this is, I'm not gonna get it. He's not. I don't stand out. No, I just feel like you gotta stand out. I don't stand out. And all of the wrestles that I had, that I was going through. Now, I gotta tell you this though. When I thought about doing television, I always said to myself, I don't want to be a news anchor. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. I actually want to do Christian television. You know, I just want to do Christian television. I want to be able to talk about Jesus freely. I want to, you know, I just want to do Christian television. And that was true. But at the same time, when I was in school, I just felt like right before I graduated, when this guy came, I think his first name was Gary. He was an older gentleman. So I'll just call him Mr. Gary. Once I graduated, probably a couple weeks passed, and I got a phone call. He said, "This is Mr. Gary from Channel 4. I remember you. I want to set a meeting up with you."
Wow.
I was in shock. Number one, I was in shock because I felt like I remember him. And I was surprised he remembered me.
Right.
Number one, how can he remember me when I did answer a question, I stumbled, you know, and I felt like I didn't stand out. I felt like when he came, I wasn't prepared. Like, had I known we was going to have this, you know, this speaker from Channel 4, I would have really tried to brush up on my stuff. But he came, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't polish yourself. But he remembered me. I don't know how he remembered me, but he did. And this is gonna sound weird. This is really gonna sound weird. But he had me come in, do it. He put me in a meeting with several other people, and they were talking about marketing and commercials and all of this. He brought me back. I went to like 2 or 3 meetings. He said to me, "I'm trying to figure out what's your fit. What's your fit? Which era you'll be better at." What I thought was news, you're just going to be a reporter. I didn't know that there were so many dynamics to working at a news station. I just didn't know. And so I was in this meeting, I was in that meeting, and that went on for like 3 weeks. But at the time, now I'm in a different position where we are praying about relocating to start a ministry.
Right.
So it all happened kind of like during that kind of like same time. And it got to the point where our last meeting we had was a good meeting, but I was calling Mr. Gary. I was supposed to go back to another meeting, and I couldn't get in contact with him. And so I didn't really pursue it. I felt like, this is just me, I felt like I didn't want the job, but I needed the affirmation that I was good enough.
That's good.
And that's what God gave me.
Amen. That's good.
Because what I really wanted to do, I really wanted to do Christian television for God. And I didn't really want to do the news, but I needed that affirmation to feel like I was good enough.
That's good.
And God gave me that. Amen. He gave me just enough to let me know I was good enough. That's good. And then I can make the decision. So are you going to pursue this? Are you going to hunt him down, let him know, "Hey, Mr. Gary, I'm right here." I didn't. And I didn't have to.
Amen.
You know, and at the time I was volunteering at the church as well. But that wasn't really it. The thing for me was God gave me my heart's desire to let me know that I was good enough. And if this is something you want to do, and this is something I want you to do, you're good enough. And so from that to me relocating from Florida to Texas, I end up getting in Christian television. Just
but you still have it.
I ended up getting it. I ended up, you know, hosting for local TBN for a few years. But the thing was that insecurity of feeling that am I even good enough to do this type of job? And
I think when we think about the word good enough, I think for myself, because I struggle with that, I went to survival mode. It had nothing to do with those on the outside. It was something bad with myself. I was having within my own self. So I was asking myself, I was doubting myself what I could and could not do. So in my early 20s, late 20s. So it was more of me. I'm a self just kind of self-evaluate my own self, and that was my biggest fear. So I had to really do a work. I mean, literally, you have to go. I had to do the work of really changing my way of thinking.
it really starts when you're young, because when the older you get, sometimes the more dramatic the trials and the situations can become. But if you start really young, starting to do the self inventory, the books, the positive thinking, as young as you can start. That, of course, it comes from affirmation from your parents at times. But if you don't even have that, because sometimes you can say that, and a child doesn't have that. You can't make them. They don't have control of what family they come.
But I do want to talk to women who have, which is my ministry, who has been through trauma. And that's like almost 80% of women. I hate to say that, been through trauma. It's sometimes not black and white. You have to take the time to redefine yourself. You do, and it's not always easy. Taking time to get the therapy you have to get. Take your time to, it's okay to be by yourself. Know who you are. Know you are worthy to have the very best. You are worthy to choose who you want to be with, and not be chosen, but be choose who you want to be. God has already chose you already. That is enough. But being a woman who can make the choices that's going to best enhance your life is important. So if you're a woman coming from being sexually abused or being raped, it is very challenging trying to believe you're good enough. I'm gonna admit that it really is. But if you do the work and invest in yourself, and take the time to know who you are, I start getting. My relationship with Christ was my number one. Everybody's not a Christian in this show, but that was my relationship with Christ was crucial for me. I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about church. I'm talking about my daily relationship with the Lord, and then also coupled with therapy. Invest in getting therapy. Talk to a therapist. Go to ground zero to be on top. And that doesn't mean, even after going through all those steps, that you will not have potholes in your life. But even those potholes does not mean that you're not secure still within yourself. It's just human nature. As being in this flesh, we might have small potholes, and that's human. But I'm really saying to these women out there who have been sexually abused or have been raped, invest in yourself. You are worth it to be secure in who God has given you to be. You are a diamond. You're a platinum. It is up to you to make the right choice that's going to enhance who you are. Don't allow people to choose you. You choose them. If they're not bringing something to the table that's going to make you become a better person, or to enhance your beauty already, then nip it in the bud. Cut it off at the root, because you've already been through enough hell. So why add more hell to your table? So it's not it's not up to you to carry a person, and you're broken as it is. You're not gonna never know who you are. It's gonna add to your insecurity issues. I think getting the proper help, being coupled with your faith in God, that's your ticket to really seeing a light of insecurities falling off of you. And that's how I did my life. And then also I date yourself for a while. I when I was younger, and I did even when I was back in my 20s, I would sometimes send roses from Kim to Kim. I did. I would go to a restaurant, make reservations for myself. Trying to be in tune to who I was as a woman. So you're worth the investment. You are worth the investment.
I think that's key too. Investing in yourself. I think with me, just along with my faith, is I was willing. A lot of times you hear when people say, "Accept who you are, accept yourself." I was willing to accept who I was, and I was willing to accept who I wasn't.
Amen to that. That's good.
Because some people,
really good.
they really work on accepting who they are, but they don't know who they're not.
Amen. That's true. That's so true.
And
you're not your
so,
mom.
Not
your sister.
Or because there's a scripture in the Bible says, if you compare yourself to another, you're not wise.
Amen to that.
You're
good.
not wise. And sometimes we do a lot of comparing ourselves to somebody else. And that's the thing that gets you in trouble.
We have our own unique blueprint.
Right. And so for me, I accepted who I was. And I accepted who I wasn't. And I began to be okay with that. Because sometimes you're not okay with it at the beginning. But I began to be okay with that. And I allowed things to be pushed to the forefront. Like, just like if you're in a relationship, they say, well, you got to put that to the forefront. You got to, don't bury it. If you have an issue, don't bury it. Don't suppress it. You put it on the table so you guys can be one. I think for me, my journey of getting to where I am today as just being a solid individual who I feel is loving and kind and whole is pushing things to the forefront so I can see it.
That's good. Yeah.
Because it's one thing for me to fool you. It's another thing for me to fool myself.
Amen to that.
And if you can look through scripture, and it clearly says you can deceive your own self. So a lot of times we falsify. We live in pretentious lives. We live pretentiously, or we can be pretentious. We live in lives that are based on image.
Right.
We can live that way, or we can shadow certain things and cover certain things wherein on the inside we're not happy. And so my focus was just going through my transformation, not just being, okay, I just want to be a Christian, or I just want to get to heaven. That was not my second goal. Maybe that's my first goal, but it wasn't my second goal. My second goal is I want to be whole.
I want to be whole.
And being whole for me is pushing things to the forefront.
That's good.
So that I can see it, and so that I can deal with it, and so that he can help me deal with it.
That's good.
So
and that's giving yourself
And
permission.
I still do that.
But that's good, because that's giving yourself permission to acknowledge. If I'm reading what you're saying, I hear what you're saying. That gives yourself permission to acknowledge your feelings.
Right,
That gives I think that's part of the insecurity thing too. Sometimes we don't give ourselves enough permission to embrace our feelings. Without pushing them down. Our feelings want to be heard. It's okay. It doesn't make you, crazy
and
off.
The thing is, I want it, and for me, some people don't want to see wrong. For me, I want it wrong to come to the surface.
Amen to that.
Because Takeda, she's fun, she's nice, she's kind, she's real cool, she has swag, or whatever. But I know everything about me is not good. If I want to help anybody with insecurity, first, just being open and true to yourself. To thine own self be true.
Lord have mercy.
Don't lie to yourself. It's one thing for you to lie to somebody else, which you don't want to do that. But it's one thing to do that because society has taught us that. But it's another thing when you lie to yourself and tell yourself things that are not true.
That's so true.
Now, remember, okay, I'm kind of getting a little spiritual here. When Lucifer said he's going to be like the Most High God, right? And he deceived a third of the angels. Well, his first lie was not to the angels, was to himself when he said he was going to be like the Most High God. And so I think for me, in my journey of going from insecure to the woman I am today, is I have fallen in love with being naked before him.
Oh, that is such a key moment.
I don't run from it.
Yeah, that's a key moment. That's
I
the
run
only way,
to
that's
it.
the way I can survive. That's the only way I can survive this journey.
I don't run from it. I run to it.
Amen to
and
that.
I continue to run to it, and that's why I feel like he knows my secrets because he's my friend, and I'm such a friend to him. He could tell me. He said he said I'll let you in on my secrets, and so that's how. That's true.
I was sharing with T the other morning that I was taking a shower that morning.
Tell us about that story.
I always when I'm meditating,
that was
talking
yesterday?
to God. This was 2 days ago.
Okay.
2 days ago. I was saying, God, I said, God, forgive me. I don't think I even spoke to you today. And I said, God, I'm so sorry. I said, God, I'm literally nothing apart from you. If you left my body, I'm going to die. I need you. I can't do anything apart from you. You are everything to me, Father. And I was just going through all that, how much I I need his embodiment inside of me to even function. So around 3:06 in the morning, I wake up, look at my phone, and I lay back down again. And the Lord said, "Go to Psalm 16." And I'm like, I'm half-time like, God, this can't be right because this is not Psalms 91. It's not Psalms 23, the normal ones I normally read.
Exactly.
So I don't think I read Psalm 60. I probably did, but it's been a long time.
Psalms 100.
Right. So I get up. I said, okay, let me go read. And verbatimly, what I said to God, I can't think of the scripture. I'm nothing. I'm no good apart from you. He repeated in that scripture, let me know that he heard me say that to him, and that blessed me so much. And I was so outdone because I know God hears me, and because we have a relationship with God, but still knowing God, when God puts in your face like that, lets me know that I am a child of the King, and I am not a bastard child, and my Father does hear my prayers and my thoughts, and he knows my actions, and he loves me unconditionally. That's where my security comes in at.
It does. You have a different type of confidence.
It's like, God Almighty, I am loved by the very Creator unconditionally. And knowing he's
favored.
Favored
by him.
And we all are those who call themselves children of God and have a relationship with the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We don't realize how good we have it until we become naked in his presence. When you decide to become naked in the presence of the living God, taking the mask off your face, the insecurities have to fall off.
That is where our confidence comes from, because there is no confidence than knowing I belong to him. There is not a person I've met on earth like a person in a position that can get me through a door, or a person that can give me favor with this. Favor. There's no person that we can shake hands with or sign documents with.
Nothing.
There's no person higher than the favor that you can actually get from him, or the confidence that you can have from him, that you can even go into the door. Knowing that he's with me, I have more confidence in going to that door. Through that door. And if I don't, something doesn't happen, it was just not for me.
Amen to that.
It was just not for me. It is not arrogance.
No, it's not. It's trusting. It's trusting in the Father who created you. So we're arrogant in him, and that's okay. We're confident knowing that God is with us. God loves us unconditionally. God's not waiting to say, look at you like that. That's not the kind of God we serve. We have a loving, unconditional God. And one thing God said is that kind of always been true for my ears. He says, the greatest command is to love. And when you think about God's love, it's unconditionally. There's no period there. It's a comma. Love, X, Y, Z, Z. It's just love. And when you think about that, God, you love me like that? With all my faults and all my issues and all my insecurities I have apart from you. God says, no, I still love you, daughter. And you can lay that to the feet of the master. The insecurities have to fall off. They have to fall off.
I think the fact that I'm a happy person.
Yes, Lord.
I have true joy, and I am happy. And I think when you have self-hate, it's just so difficult. And a lot of people do deal with self-hate, and hopefully we've said something that can help those stages.
Definitely.
But when you have self-love, and sometimes you just gotta start from the beginning. When you have self-love, it really is how you feel about yourself is attractive.
Amen to that.
People are attracted
by how you feel about your own self.
There is a light there.
So shall we be. How do you think about yourself? There's a light there. But if you continue to have that intimate relationship with the Lord, your inner man will be built up, and the insecurities can't stay there. And once you realize who God is and how much He loves you and how He's created you, and like T even said, even the things about yourself you might not even like, bring them to the Father. It is the most freest thing you can ever encounter. Is bringing all that to the Lord, and that's not even a religious moment. That is a fact of relationship with God. I just feel like, again, dealing with insecurities, the wholeness, it really comes from the person who created you in the first place. Amen to that. And T said something I want to payback on, because I just feel this in my heart. God can reach you wherever you're at. Even if you're looking at us or station and you're in prison. If you're in prison, behind the women's prison, men's prison, God can reach you there. And there's nothing that God would not do there's nothing you could have done that God won't forgive you for it, that He won't love you through, and bring you back to the fold. So even if you are in prison, well, I made this big old mistake. I just feel horrible.
Yeah.
I just kind of, threw my family in the bus. I've done the most horrific things. If you do these steps and take the mask off, and become that little boy or that little girl in the presence of the living God, you're starting a life over even where you're at.
Yeah.
So I encourage you, whoever that's for, to even bring God to where you are there, because He's there. He's there with you. He wants you to invite Him into where you're at. And
insecurities can cause
anxiety, fear, doubt, low self-esteem. Makes you make choices you normally would not choose.
Yeah. Insecurities can cause you to compromise your ethics.
Yes. Yes.
Insecurities can cause you to compromise your morals.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Insecurities can cause you to do things to underhand or undermine your colleagues.
That's true.
So that is something that you really, 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 I think, not you, but society. Yeah. We really have to
we do.
Constantly do self-inventory.
That is good right there.
That is good.
Well, this was fun. This was
a wrap.
Yes. This was a raw conversation.
Yeah.
I think we talk about insecurities. No one feels like, we feel like, ugh.
Right.
But I think being open and transparent about it, we're all on the right path.
Yeah. So, keep it, whatever you do, don't stop. Just keep it pushing. Yeah. You can wake up another day tomorrow and just try again. Don't give up on yourself, and don't give up on your family or loved one or each other. Just don't give up.
And hey, we do have your questions. We're going to answer those hopefully next week.
Yeah.
And
we actually have them. Let me show you. We have your questions.
Yes. But we got
right here.
Doing something different. So.
But here's the thing about this. We have your questions right here that we're going to answer. But here's the thing. We kind of go with how our spirit, something drops in our spirit, and we feel the need. Hey, we got to talk about this.
Right.
So we're going to answer these questions.
So we didn't forget about you.
Yeah. So,
hey, if you have questions too, don't forget to email us at tktvhouston@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like our page and also subscribe to our channel. Thank you once again to our donors. We appreciate you. God bless you. We love you. Keep on watching.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think of?
That's it. Until next time, peace and love, baby.
See you later. Bye-bye.